it's Mohita. Welcome back to my channel called Books and Bites. I make food and book related videos on this channel, and today is yet another book related video day. Today I am going to talk about the 5 Indian books that I have read in this year so far. So these are written by Indian authors, are based in India, and I just thought that I will review them for you. So this is not a book recommendation video, although most of you have really asked me to recommend books. Some of these books I will definitely want you to read, but a few of them I will just review because I'm not so sure if I should be recommending those books to you. But after listening to the reviews, if you do feel like picking any one of these, go right ahead. So anyway, the first book that I'm definitely going to recommend as well as review is Remnants of a Separation by Aanchal Malhotra. I do not own a copy of this book. I borrowed it from a friend who actually urged me into reading this book, and I am so thankful that I did, because this is such a stunning book. What started as an academic research was eventually published for the common man, thereby deeply moving and touching thousands who have read this book. This book traces the events and emotions that are attached to the partition of India, and it does so through material memory, which means which objects, physical objects, did those people decide to take with them under the extreme conditions of pressure, vulnerability and insecurity. I think what truly impressed me was how much painstaking effort and research Aanchal Malhotra has put in this book. At the same time, she also realizes the gravity and the responsibility of the subject that she is dealing with, and you know, her vocabulary is so rich, and she has put her everything into this book, and I can really see that. And she has penned each word down with so much care and so much dignity. Also, there is like a usage of Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu and Bengali throughout the book, and that sort of really brings out the essence of India, especially India, because I just feel that, you know, we as a diverse country, as a pluralistic country, we have so many languages, and nothing can bring out the essence of India as much as our regional languages, and that has been used so well in this book. Aanchal Malhotra's writing is just so deep and moving. This is one book that I will definitely recommend for you to read if you haven't yet read this. My rating for this book is 4.5 on 5. The next book that I'm going to review is A Murder on Malabar Hill by Sujata Messi. This is a fictional story. It's a crime thriller genre, and this book follows the story of a young Parveen Mistry who becomes India's first woman solicitor. The timeline of this book is set during the British Raj. This is a crime/thriller book which also deals a lot with women empowerment. So Parveen is on an inheritance case of a Muslim man who dies and is survived by 3 wives. While on this case, a murder takes place and things sort of escalate from there. There is also a lot of baggage and past that Parveen carries, and we see this sort of explored as the story progresses and as the main murder mystery progresses. Throughout this book, we see how Parveen, who used to be an immature, impulsive sort of a girl, to becoming a really level-headed, responsible woman who fights for justice. Parveen Mistry belongs to a Parsi family, and this has been portrayed so well, especially with the laced saris and the dhansak and patra fish and descriptions of all sumptuous Parsi food. It brings out a very typical Parsi family so well. So Parveen's parents are modern, caring, at the same time extremely encouraging. I think the most likable character for me was Parveen's father, who is extremely strict and he scolds her all the time, but at the same time he really supports his daughter. He supports his daughter's education. He encourages her to become a solicitor, and he always comes through when she's in trouble. Coming back to the murder mystery, so I feel that the main plot of the murder mystery was really interesting because of the timeline that this book was set in, because there was no technology. So, you know, what could have been solved over a phone call took nearly days. For another is that the murder takes place in a Muslim family. It's a conservative Muslim family, so the three wives do not really talk to any men, which is why conversations and investigations are hampered. And this is where the heroine of our story gets her chance to rise to the occasion and solve the murder mystery. I enjoyed this book mostly for its atmospheric read of the old Bombay, so that was fun to read, and my rating for this book is 3.5 out of 5 stars. The third book that I read is Ghachar Ghochar by Vivek Shanbhag. This is a very tiny book. You can actually finish this off in a couple of hours. This is also a little bit of a mysterious book. The main plot revolves around a South Indian family who basically goes from rags to riches pretty much overnight, and the narrator is the son in the family, who is basically telling us the story of how his family dynamics were before they became rich and what exactly changed in the family after they started getting like a lot of money. Now, when I actually read the synopsis of this book, I thought that this book would be somewhat philosophical and moving and touching, but it was a surprise to realize that it's actually got something of a sinister nuance underneath it. It has a little bit of a dark tonality going on, sort of, and that's really unexpected. So yeah, it's a pretty enjoyable book, but it's something that definitely I didn't expect. So my rating for this book is also 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I'm going to review is Escape by Manjula Padmanabhan. This, I have to applaud the author for writing such an experimental book. So this is the first novel that I have come across which is based in a dystopian India. Now, nowhere in this book is it explicitly mentioned that the story takes place in India, but there are descriptions and there are signs enough to let you know that this is like a land which is equivalent to the India of the current world, because there are like men who are described to wear dhotis, men who eat dal, roti, and even pan for that matter. So the basic plot line of the story is this is like way into the future, and this is sort of an post-apocalyptic India. I can never say that word in one go. So yeah, this is based in a post-apocalyptic India. It's a world where no woman lives. So basically, this particular world is governed by human-like leaders, but not quite human. They have like their own clones, and they are completely against women. They are completely against reproduction and sex, which is why they kill off all the women, they kill all girl children, and they kill all the pregnant women. So it has reached a point that the generation that is born right now into this book have never seen a woman. And under this scenario, there is actually a girl who is being raised in hiding by these three brothers who are the girl's uncles. And there comes a point in the book where they realize that it's going to become more and more dangerous, because she is going to grow into like somebody who looks like a woman. So far they have been sort of stunting her growth through injecting hormones and hormonal tablets. So at the age of 16 she looks like a 9-year-old, and even she has no idea that she is different than the men in the world. So she doesn't know the concept of a woman. So under this circumstance, her youngest uncle and the girl herself start making a journey to a border of India, and they like want to cross the country and go out into the world, so that she gets to live a freer and a much secure and safer life. Now the thing about this book is, while the premise is very, very promising, I found that the story itself was kind of a drag, especially because the pace is very, very slow. Secondly, there are so many disturbing things that happen in this book that I found it very difficult to read it in a single go, so I had to like take breaks, and it was just too much to handle, I felt. So I'm not saying that this is a bad book. The language also is like quite good, but I just felt that this book is too heavy and also very, very slow. Like I think I would have liked this book more if it had been cut down to like 75% of what it is. So I just felt that it could have been edited a bit better. But yeah, in all, it's a good experimental book, and my rating for this book is also 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so those were all the Indian books that I have read so far in 2018. Let me know which of these books you found interesting and which of these books you think you are going to pick up next. And also follow me on Instagram. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle goes by the same name, Curls Books and Bites. And I will see you soon in the next video. Bye!